What's up, guys and gals? My name is Splattercat. We're here with the next episode of Tropico 5. In the previous episode, we had started to set up some of our basic preliminary industry to make sure that we were making a bit of money, but for right now, it looks like there's some quests waiting for us, and never one to be able to resist a quest. I suppose we will take it.
Now we have exported the revolution. It is time to reap the benefits. Our comrades across the world will join us if we let them.
Let's see. So far as you keep the housing quality above 40. Sure, why not? I bet it'll be okay. This couldn't backfire on me. I mean, the housing quality is at 40, so I think we might have a little bit of problem with it. But, you know, it'll probably work out okay. They don't need carpet or any of those finer things in life.
I fear that the revolution's agenda is threatened. It seems the communists feel that our revolution is not the best it could be.
So they want me to do a construction office. I think we have enough. Let me pause the game for a moment. We'll have a look around. We've got a bunch of cash. I need to get a feel for what we're doing right now. We're at 95% approval rating because, frankly, we rule. Who doesn't love El Presidente? And anybody that says otherwise, that doesn't love us, we've already killed him. So problem solved. That's why the approval rating keeps going up. We're just whacking dudes left and right. Just pop, pop, pop. Zip, zip, zip. All that kind of stuff from out of the darkness. There's lots of jungle to hide in around here, and that's exactly what we've been doing. But we need to get going in this episode. Is we definitely, I think, you guys have been telling me that I need to build a few more docks, and so to avoid feeling down in the dumps, we're gonna go ahead and build some no, we're not gonna build wharfs. We're gonna build, let's see here, where are you hiding at? I thought it was in infrastructure. There it is. So we need docks, and I think the best place for our next dock is probably gonna be somewhere over here ish, like right there. Doesn't seem too terrible. And then we need to connect it with a road. So let me hit the R key, and I'm going to open up my hotkeys here because I very much prefer to play with hotkeys. And we'll just kind of cordon off a little road like there, and then we'll use the opportunity to get rid of that enormous boulder as well, because he's been talking a lot of trash lately. He's been sitting there just been like, I'm a big old rock. There's nothing you can do about me. I'm in the middle of your construction area. And I'd be like, well, because of Mr. Alfred Nobel, we have a way to get rid of you, giant rock, and I think that we will. And he's like, you've got a tractor? And I'm like, no, I've got dynamite, you giant rocky idiot. But anyways, oh god, it's already starting. I woke up so late today, and I'm just feeling as though my brain is just not flowing in the way that I want it to. It's like one of those days where you never fully wake up. You're in a suspended state of awakeness just until the next time you go to sleep. And so basically I'm halfway asleep, halfway awake.
Research that. Don't you know that if you do, you will then research socialism, which everyone knows is bad. We should stick to our current model of capitalist cronyism. I, my friends, and all my relatives think that is the best model for government.
I like that the developers aren't afraid to make, like, edgy humor. Like, they're willing to throw barbs out there, and if anybody gets mad about it, they'll just be like, it's a joke, man. Get on board. Let's see what we should research now. I'm not too experienced with anything this far down the tech tree, and so from this point on, you may see me just kind of flounder or founder, whichever one you prefer. Flounders do that floppy thing when you put them on dry land in a location that they're not used to, and foundering, I think, is when a ship is just like and just like stops working. That's the sound that ships make when they stop working. At least that's the sound that my ship made when it stopped working. So just things to be aware of before you join the nautical crew. We can do a jewelry factory, but I don't think we have a gold mine yet, so I'm not going to mess with that. The customs office will allow us to do something. I don't know. Let's look over here. We got socialism already. We've got I'm going to take a look at some of the edicts during this episode too, because I did want to talk about some of the things that we can enact to make our lives a little bit easier. Our approval rating is so high at the moment that I'm not that worried about it. It's just like, we're doing incredibly well for where we're at in the game. We can go for military skills right now, which will allow us to put a manager inside our military buildings. I don't know what benefit that'll have in the long term of the gameplay. However, I think a banking system is probably a really, really good idea. So let's go ahead and make a banking system. That's going to take us around 2 years to research. We'll start looking for some kind of supply resource for the jewelry factory. If we have one, then I thought we had a gold mine around here somewhere. What is this? That's a bauxite deposit. So we've got aluminium coming from there. We've got an iron deposit way the hell over there. We're also using this iron mine right here. Have all of these had their budget maxed out? Okay, good. All of the piggy farms have their budgets maxed out. That brings me oh, sugar plantation. You aren't with the rest of the crew. Oh my god. And there we go. We need to get all of the country houses tuned up as well. Get them up to 50 housing quality. We can also go through and we can electrify all these, but they're outside the electrical grid right now, so we'll probably have to put in a substation. Let me have a look here. So the first substation will have to be dropped right there. God, building on inclines in this game, it is not a fan. We're going to have to figure out a place to dump this thing. Alright, we'll put it right there, and that'll extend us out a little bit further. Hopefully far enough that we can get up the side of this mountain and then drop another electrical substation. An electrical substation seems like the kind of place where you could get sub sandwiches, but they would have lots of LEDs and things on the wall, like lots of flashing lights. Definitely some epileptic warnings to be aware of. That's just what it visually, like mentally, I get that picture. I'm going to max out the dock budget right there. And in the trade menu, we need to start deciding on imports and exports. I think the ship that's here is going to be on exports. And pineapples are pretty expensive right now. We can export meat. We do have a really, really good supply of meat, but later on, we can use our meat factory. For example, I'm thinking that if we go with industry goods, we'll probably be able to make a lot more money. Jewelry's pretty expensive if we take it to Britain or the United States. Over here, I'm not really sure what we can get away with right now. Exporting iron seems like a decent plan, but that's going to put us at odds with one side versus the other. I think we decided to piss off America, or we decided to piss off the Allies in this case. I'm not really sure who we chose. I think we went with the Axis, though, for whatever reason. I think it just kind of fell that way based on the quest that they gave us. So exports right now in raw materials, it's looking like a lot of the money's going to be in coffee. We don't have any cocoa, I don't think. Let me take a look at... There's a list around here somewhere where I can take a look at every single building that I have. And I'm not seeing it right now. And so unfortunately this has placed me, there we go. And so we've got industry, we've got a textile mill, we've got a lumber mill, and we've got a cannery. The cannery needs to be upgraded. We also need to increase the budget of the cannery. For whatever reason, I've left that off the list. I do like that I have a centralized location right now that I could look at all this stuff, though. I do wish that there was a back button, though. That's like the one thing that I'm missing that I feel like I don't have. There's no back button for me to go back and look at the things. So we have a lot of coffee. Well, we have 2 coffee. We have 1 banana. We have tobacco. We have lots of cattle. We have llamas. We have lots of sugar. And so I think that the construction of a rum distillery is probably a good idea. We'll start that off since we've got a little bit of extra cash. Wait, do I have one already? Let's go back to here, and we'll go to our buildings menu, and we will jump into industry goods. Cannery, textile mill, lumber mill. No, apparently that's something that we just missed along the way. So let's go back to our industry. And what we want to make here, it's going to be a luxury good, I think. A rum distillery. There we are. And so with the rum distillery, I don't really have a great location that I can drop it. I don't see... I suppose I could just put it over here. I mean, it seems like a good enough place for it, right? So we'll build the rum distillery right there. That's going to be another revenue stream for us. We've got more exports being dropped off on this side. This one's probably not going to be quite as popular as this one down here, just based on the localities of everything that we've built. I'm guessing that this one is still going to supply the lion's share of all of our export revenues. Nonetheless, having extra docks is always helpful because it allows you to get a few more ships. And so I think once we can produce rum for ourselves, we're going to take a look at our industrial goods. We're going to see if there's any possibility that we could maybe export rum. As of right now, we only have cloth. It's weird that nobody else wants anything. I don't know if this is going to be listed, though, based on what we have right now. We can export cloth at a higher price. So let's export cloth to... I'm not going to do that right now. We'll hold back on the cloth for the moment. I don't know what revenues I'm drawing from cloth, however. If I could take a look at my economy... I don't know if there's any way to specifically 100% look at, like, we're selling at this price to the highest bidder anywhere. If you guys know about a menu like that, please tell me. I probably won't spend too much time panning and scanning through here. From the cannery, what are we selling at right now? The profit is 317. We need to upgrade this with a high pressure canner so that we can process meat. So there it is. We'll spend a little bit of extra cash so that our cannery has a few more uses. Makes it a little bit more spry. Makes it a bit more useful to us. I'm going to build a construction yard over here. So infrastructure. That'll complete the quest that we had running previously. Don't think that we really need too many more construction workers.
Tropicans await elections next year. They wish to show their everlasting love and respect for you. They may have used different words, but that does not matter.
Of course it doesn't. 91% of the people will vote for us. That is a killer amount of people that are that are voting for us. So I don't think that there's any problem. Annabella Carter doesn't have a prayer, and if she did, I would have her shot by the priest. We need to make sure that all of these are at their maximum revenue values. I think I missed a couple of these buildings. There's nobody working here right now. Interesting. Let me take a look at our unemployment at the moment. We have 6 people unemployed. We have a lot of open jobs, most of them for the illiterati. And so we gotta just sit around and wait for more immigrants, I think. Let's go ahead and slow our roll on construction right now because we do have way too many jobs. Most of them are for people with no education whatsoever. So let me take a look at my edicts and see if there's a way that maybe I can amend this. I think it's actually in the Constitution. We may have to do this once we... I actually think that we'll go with open borders right now. We'll go with the immigrant nation. And that'll help us out a little bit because we are lacking in the lower class labor that we need. I don't mean to refer to this in terms of like class warfare or class struggle, but frankly, people without an education are really kind of disappearing at the moment. That went from 480 down to 450 and then back up to 479. A little bit terrifying. 29 citizens have arrived. Alright, so that sets us on a path for rapid expansion. We can always amend the Constitution whenever we want anyways. I think we can always amend these little guys on the secondary ones whenever... No. Maybe I didn't click that. There we go. Oh, we can't amend it for another 5 years. Alright, well that's fine. We'll take 5 years of immigration, and that'll help us catch up anyways. We've got a whole bunch of new immigrants coming in. Let's go ahead and max that out. I want to make sure that the things that are here seem to be alright. Let me also take a look and make sure that we aren't doing too badly with homelessness. And we actually are. We're doing terribly with homelessness. So let's go ahead and handle that while we've got an excess surplus of cash. I think I'll put... We were going to build some houses down in here, so I think we'll probably continue along that line. Let's drop that right there. We'll wipe out the houses along the way. And then I'm going to go into my housing menu. Residential, I think we'll just go with normal houses now. A little bit bigger. A little bit more expensive as well. That looks a little bit ugly, but it'll do for now. That'll do, construction pig. That'll do. City planner pig. There we go. Our city planner is a pig. We didn't have anybody else qualified to do the job, and so he just kind of was in the right place at the right time. I don't really know what else to say to explain the situation. It is what it is. Nobody questions it because they're afraid I'll assassinate him, but it is a thing right now. It is a thing that exists. We also need a steel mill. How's our power grid looking? That's another thing that I wasn't paying attention to very well. Electrical substation. How are we doing over here? We are having so many problems getting up this hill. We are having an embarrassing amount of work, or an embarrassing amount of setbacks trying to get the electricity up this hill. I don't see any location over here. It should be constructible right there because there's no incline, but for whatever reason, the squares that are next to an incline are not really... They don't cooperate. Can I build right there? I can. So I'm going to have to try for a substation like right over here. We'll see what happens with it. This may not get us close enough to the point. Either we may be going out horizontally when we need to be going out vertically. I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it, and maybe whenever this gets finished off, we'll have a chance to actually have electricity up in this area because it would make our lives a little bit easier. Shaving pens have already been enacted. What upgrades can we do? We have a heavy crusher. Job quality decreased by 10, but effectiveness has been increased by 20. I think we should also go with a steel mill over here. I don't think that's going to be something that we want to miss out on, based on the fact that we do have an iron supply that's just hanging out and waiting for us. We leave our iron supply hanging out. We don't tuck it in or anything like that. We don't want the other iron supplies to think that we're not hip or cool, and so, you know, we leave it hanging.
Outcome of coming elections.
No need, no election fraud. We have 92% of the vote, man. Election fraud at this point, we have nothing to gain from it. A 92% election? I mean, I'm pretty sure people are already looking at us very, very suspiciously. Even if we don't cheat, nobody's gonna believe us.
Let me be the first to congratulate you, Presidente.
How is it that out of 480, I guess our voter turnout is not perfect. It takes after every other democracy on Earth. Substation, how are we doing? How are we doing? Okay, we're doing alright, Substation. You're feeling alright today? That's good, I'm glad to hear it. Let's go ahead and we're gonna ramp up the job quality over here. The upgraders, the rum distillery. Ooh, a Dunder still. Sure, that reminds me of The Office with Dunder Mifflin, but whatever. A Dunder still, that sounds alright. A Dunder. Dunder. That's a great word. I don't even know if that's probably just a guy's last name. He probably came up with this invention. You know what? I'm gonna call this me. This thing is the culmination of my entire life.
It's a bit crowded around here. Tons of new faces on the island. As I speak, I have some strange guy sitting right next to me. I don't know where he came from and what he is doing here, but he is looking at me right now. Hey, creepy dude, I'm talking to you.
The Axis is currently in desperate need of steel. I worked my feminine wiles on them, and they offered us a contract.
You worked your feminine wiles on all of them? Because that's a lot of people. That is a ton of people. So with the Axis, I'm going to remain independent. I'm not going to act as a supplier right now. Well... you know what, let's give the middle finger to the Allies, and if it backfires on us, then, you know, things will probably not work out and we'll get overthrown, but they'll probably do like a Bay of Pigs thing and try and have us assassinated or murdered or whatever. That seems to be the way things go, but we're going to go with the Axis on this one just because we did get the offer, and so we need to set that up too. Let me go ahead and set the job quality right here. The upgrades that we can go with, you have a smelter mill. The effectiveness is increased by 20, but it makes 30% more pollution. We'll hold off on that for right now. Our steel exports should be very, very profitable. And so using the ship that we have, let's go ahead and go to the trade lane, and we're going to go to our mining and logging. Actually, I think it's industry goods. And we're going to export to the Axis. And so we'll add a ship to that. That should be a very, very profitable little trade lane. I think we move 40,000 units. I don't know if we're going to be able to move that, so it's a 10-year contract. That's going to last quite a while. We can import rum from Cuba. Why would we import when we want to export? Sometimes I feel like we just don't get the offers that we need. We can export sugar to a couple of... oh, that's an import. Never mind. So not a lot of export options right now. Weirdly enough. Then again, we don't have extra ships either, so... whatever. Not gonna worry about it right now. We don't have a lot of extra ships to get the job done anyway, so it's not something that sitting and staring at is going to fix. Power substation. I should probably run a road to this. That's probably why it's not getting finished. There we go. And until we are sabotaged by this enormous, nasty little sandy hill over here, we probably... well, I had a plan to run a road around the entire island, and now it looks like we have to go up this gully and go around. Not necessarily what I wanted to do, but then again, during the course of LPing, I've learned on many occasions that a lot of the time...
we weaponized jokes. Now, we have managed to weaponize numbers. Unfortunately, they have proved to be the most inhumane way to destroy the human soul ever invented, and have been banned by most international courts. As a result, we can only use them on our people, and then only on select individuals able to survive the terrible effects.
Let's go ahead and we're going to issue some edicts as well, because we've got a quest to do so. Military bases I don't really want to build, but the reason in doing that, so to give you a little bit of a look into my mind's eye, don't stare too long, you know what Nietzsche said, but anyways, if we build an army base, we'll get this quest done. And the reason why I don't want to build army bases is because they're not very effective. Army bases are not that great. In fact, you can defend your entire society by just putting watchtowers all over the place. Basically, any place where the enemy is going to land on your beaches, just put a ton of watchtowers and you will more than likely be okay. I haven't vetted that in the late game, so it might not be true for the entire game, but from where I've played to, which is pretty much where we're at right now, it seems to be the case that even if the Axis or allies invade you, Your watchtowers seem to do all right. We don't have a gold mine, so I'm not going to do the jewelry factory right now. That's not something that I feel like is really necessary. We're going to do a customs office. I'm not sure what that's going to help us out with, but we'll find out once it gets done. Let's take a look and see what the bank does as well. I don't know what menu we're going to find that under. I don't think we're going to find it under infrastructure or education. Chances are we're probably going to find it under economy and foreign relations. Generates interest rate on money in the treasury. That's not terrible, in fact, because we have such a considerable surplus of money right now that throwing it around in the bank and earning an extra little bit of money might be a good plan. We should also probably throw down an embassy, considering we took the time to research it. Let's put a bank right here. Which side is the front of the bank? Oh, that's the front of the bank. Okay. Alright, it's a very, very elongate bank. But that's fine. Whatever. We got money long, so we might as well make our bank long as well. We're almost at $100,000 at the moment. We got tons of money. And then I will also consider building an embassy over here. Do we already have an embassy? Let me take a look at my stats first and make sure that we don't already have one. I think that's going to be under... What was it? It was under... Obviously not infrastructure, not research and education either. Oh, you can go back through menus by right-clicking. Well, I'm an idiot then. I don't think we have one. I don't even think it's put the tab in the game just yet, simply based on the fact that we haven't built it. So let's figure out which side is the front. Which part is the ass of the embassy? I think that's the embassy's butt. And so we'll go and put the front right there. Put it up against the glass or up against the asphalt for the moment. And these guys get to live across the street from the embassy. As far as I know, if you live across the street from the embassy, you're probably in the nicer side of town. Oh, and there goes our autosave, which leads me to believe it may be time to break off the episode. But the final thing I want to do is get this power substation running out here, because it's kind of a thing that needs to happen. There we go. And so we finally got our power substation where we wanted it. It took long enough. It only took us an entire episode to get that to where we wanted it. But it's fine. Over here it says that they're not producing. They should have plenty of input. Oh, are we out of coal? Or are they just processing so fast that nobody can keep up? I'm willing to bet that it's the second half, because I keep pointing guns at them and acting threateningly towards their families and children and so forth if they don't work harder. Let's take a look. We can do travel insurance. The bank generates revenue for everybody on the island. How much is this going to generate, though, over time?
Money, folks. The sun, the beach, the surf, and your pet alligator are way more important than material wealth. Still, it is nice to know that Tropico is financially secure at the moment.
I'm going to have all of the excess revenues go to our slush fund, because we haven't been working on our Swiss bank account at all, and we need to make a little bit of money. So in fact, one of the edicts I might put up right about now is going to be related to a building permit, more than likely. But anyways, I'm going to pause the game right now. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me in the Nerd Castle for another episode of Tropico. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you for taking the time to join me here today. I do appreciate it. Every single viewer helps the Nerd Castle out, and it helps us continue to grow. I look forward to seeing you all, as I said previously, tomorrow or whenever the next episode goes up. See you there. Hi do, everybody.